All right, friends, it's T-Man, and I just noticed this video just popped up. It's a Jeremy Ethier video. My God, what a fluke. So I'm going to do a reaction to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness slave himself. You know who? Jeremy Ethier Broski. So Jeremy Ethier says, your arms need these exercises. Okay.
If you want to grow your twigs into thick, defined arms, you've come to the right place. After cutting out all the fluff and focusing on just 2 sides-backed exercises, my arms grew big.
Cut out all the fluff and just focus on these 2 science-based. Ooh, science-based, he says, does he? All right.
And fuller than they ever have. But don't just take my
okay.
word for it. I asked the top natural bodybuilders and muscle.
He has the top natural bodybuilders. Oh, look, Mike Israetel. He's very natural. Yes, indeed.
Growth researchers the same question. If you could only pick 1 biceps exercise and 1 triceps exercise, what would you pick? And they all pointed to the same 2 weird exercises I've been using. So like most people, I started in the gym with just standard bicep curls. And I'm not gonna lie, they did the job. But after I passed my newbie gains phase, my arms became a lot harder to grow. And that—
Wait, after he passed his newbie gain phase, they became harder to grow? You mean when he adapted to the eccentric exercise, it became harder to grow? See what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to explain to you? Oh man, let's do some research, man. Let's do some research on this. Is funny. Okay, bro? Let's do some research. All right, so this is from Nuclei Overload Precedes Hypertrophy Not Lost on Detraining from NCBI. So this is that famous map here, and you notice here it says untrained first training satellite cell fusion, right? And then you see here at the top, the open viewer, it's, oh fuck, I don't know what this is, open viewer. And it shows you here hypertrophy, right? Hypertrophy, untrained first training satellite cell fusion, hypertrophy, detraining, whatever. Okay, what is this fusion? What is this, what do you get when you're untrained in first training? Well, it's really simple. Want to know what that is? Okay. So, muscle swelling and soreness, eccentric exercise followed by, well, that's not the one we're looking for. This one right here, at the top up here. A unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained muscles become stiff and sore the next day due to what? Performing them due to significant muscle damage. Well, there you go. So where do these nuclei come from? They come from the damage. See what I mean? That's where they come. They're donating. They're building myofibulars in series, in parallel, whatever, because of the eccentrics. That's what's so unique about eccentric exercise, is that they cause damage. But when you adapt to it, there's no more damage. There's no more nuclei. You don't grow. So he says newbie gain phase. So that was the newbie gain phase over here. The honeymoon phase right there. That map there in the corner. See that map right there? First training satellite cell fusion, whatever. And then he adapted. How did it adapt? Well, it grew some muscle and adapted. It, now that when it goes down, what happens is not that it just adapted, because he became a concentric lifter. He doesn't do any eccentric anymore. That happens to everybody in the gym.
And that's when I started learning more about the potential downsides of regular curls. They challenge your biceps mostly in the middle position when your arm is flexed.
See, concentric lifting all the way to the top, squeezing those muscles, bro.
But this is a similar type of challenge your biceps already get from back exercises like rows and pull-ups, which also tend to be most difficult when your arm is in that same position. Plus,
the question is, why are you using your arms for rows? You're not supposed to be using your arms. You're supposed to be using your back.
Because the biceps cross all the way over the shoulder, exercises like dumbbell curls don't stretch your biceps as much as they could be by exercise.
They do. If they go 2 times heavier down, they'll stretch them. They have to keep going. See, here's the thing. You're going with gravity. So if you're going with gravity, it has to go 2 times heavier. But the problem is it went up heavy, but it's going 2 times lighter down than it is going heavier. That's the problem. Get it? Look, it is harder to push against gravity going the opposite direction, but it's a lot easier to go with gravity because gravity is pulling you down. So if it's pulling you down, it's going to go down a lot easier. It's always easier to go down than it is to go up. That's why the space shuttle requires a lot of fuel to leave the planet. You understand me? But it doesn't require a lot of fuel to land.
This is where your arms stay behind you, which, at least based on research for other muscle groups, seems to be a powerful way to stimulate more growth. But to discover the best exercise for...
Yeah, but you can't stimulate more growth unless you have an addition of these nuclei because they synthesize proteins. Get it? And without sufficient damage, you cannot build any myofibrillar growth either. So no myofibrillar growth and no proteins to mass up the myofibrillars.
For your biceps, scientists from a brand new 2025 study ran an exercise comparison. They split participants into 2 groups. One group did only incline curls for 8 weeks, whereas the other group did preacher curls. Now, although both these exercises worked...
Here, this is, you see how dumb this is? Well, we did a study now. So because he says he reached the newbie gain limit. There's no such thing as newbie gain limit. It's called a myonuclear domain size limit. Look, let's bring this up too. This is for the new people because they may not know this. Okay. Okay, here we go. PubMed. Myonuclear domain size limit. And when you go here, M&D size has a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process beyond which extra myonuclei are donated by satellite cell to support further muscle growth. Okay, when does that happen? It happened in first training satellite cell fusion hypertrophy. It happened when a unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day due to what? Muscle damage. That's when it happens. Okay, that's when it happens. Now, if you want more of it, then you're going to have to repeat that cycle. That's all. That's all you have to do. No big deal. See, here, a myonuclear domain size limit refers to the theoretical maximum volume of a cytoplasm of single muscle cell nucleus can effectively control within a muscle fiber. Yeah, they can only get so big. Meaning once this limit is reached, further muscle growth requires the addition of what? Further muscle growth requires the addition of what? Nuclei from satellite cells to maintain proper protein synthesis and function. Essentially, it is the ceiling on how much a single nucleus can manage before additional nuclei are needed for further what? Further hypertrophy. There you go. See what I mean? You understand me, dude? Then that tells you the concept here. Each muscle cell nucleus is responsible for regulating gene expression within a specific cytoplasmic area called the myonuclear domain. Hypertrophy and limitation, satellite cell involvement, and factors affecting size. Okay? Anyway, let's go back to this. I'm going to stay here all day. So he's wrong, okay?
Work the biceps, the challenge they place on them is actually very different. During incline curls, your arms hang behind your body.
Doesn't matter whether you do an incline curl or you stand sideways or anything. These don't matter. You can stand up and still do it. What you have to do is the weight has to go 2 times heavier down than it did going up. That's about it. That's it.
Provided an even greater stretch on the biceps. But the exercise is still hardest right around the middle, just like
Yeah, but that doesn't activate the satellite cell. The damage is what activates. These micro injuries activate the satellite cell, and then it donates its nuclei. That's the only way it's going to donate its nuclei. Plus, even if to donate its nuclei to mass up that area, it has to exceed that limit, that myonuclear, the cell size. It has to reach that limit, and then it can donate more of it.
curls. With preacher curls, however, your arm is placed in front of your body, so the biceps aren't stretched as much. But unlike the incline curls, this setup now challenges your biceps much more at the bottom position when your arm is almost fully extended. So with the study design, the researchers wanted to find out what causes more growth. Is this more on stretching the bicep?
The researchers wanted to find out what causes more growth. Eccentric is what causes growth. This is so dumb. Which one causes more growth? Man, you have to be really stupid.
Or an exercise that focuses more on challenging the biceps than most at the bottom, when the bicep is still quite stretched, but just not stretched quite as much as it is during incline curls. And the results were confusing. Incline curls led to more growth in the upper part of the arm, but preacher curls led to more growth in the lower part of the arm. Another study that's
Well, if it's yeah, there's a lot more stretch there. If it's overworked, here's the other thing. If it is overworked in duration, which is intensity and duration, then yeah, it's possible with the same exercise you could bring back that damage. That means you just did something you were unaccustomed to doing that you didn't do before. You did more sets, you added more sets to doing the exercise, causing it to re-damage.
yet to be released tested the exact same thing, but using
I mean, that can only go so far, and then you have to start overloading it heavier and heavier eventually because it'll adapt.
MRI for more accurate measurement, and they got similar results. So, what does this mean? Well, theoretically,
It means that you have to keep overloading the eccentric to keep getting a new adaptation. So either you're going heavier concentrically, but going down is going lighter, but that means you're going to have to add more sets, overworking that muscle with that light eccentric, whatever weight going down to try to get it to damage, or either or you overload it eccentrically with heavy weight and get it to damage. Get it? And then every time you come back, you're bigger and stronger. You have to keep overloading it heavier. See what I mean? Or you have to come back and do the same exercises. You have to add multiple sets, which is taxing, definitely. It's a lot of work.
to maximize growth in all parts of your biceps, you'd want an exercise where the challenge is hardest at the bottom, just like they are with preacher curls, but without the arm held in front of the body so the biceps are more stretched. Which leads me to the weird exercise most of the fitness experts I spoke to recommended, starting with pro natural body.
Yeah, pro fake naturals. Oh, I talked to the leading experts on injecting steroids. Okay, whatever.
Builder and elite coach Alberto Nunez.
So for me personally,
Alberto Nunez, he's natural, bro. He built muscles naturally. Yes, of course.
I really like those preacher curl benches or tables that are really wide, where I can lean back and have my humerus in light. It's not full.
Okay, I'm not saying that this doesn't work. You know what I mean? There's a heavy duty stretch here, definitely, because you're lengthening that muscle a lot. Okay. But his question, do you need to do this? Not necessarily. Can you do this? Yes, absolutely you can. I'm not saying you can't. Can you bring this damage back again doing that? Not with the same set and rep scheme, you can't. You're going to have to increase the sets now doing that same shit that you just did here. See what I mean? Or you have to overload it without the concentric, but he's still doing concentrics. You see that? In eccentric exercise, we are foregoing the concentric because we're maximizing the overload on the eccentric. That's the whole point. In other words, we're taking a shortcut. In other words, we don't want to exhaust ourselves doing eccentric, concentric. I've done these. I definitely do these. But if I don't want to exhaust myself, I do eccentric overload training is much more efficient. That's only usually when I'm trying to bust through plateaus or whatever. Now, sorry, not necessarily plateaus. Look, when I'm doing eccentric, concentric, and I'm trying to get this damage to come back once a week, then yes, At a certain point, you'll reach a point where it's not working anymore. You need more overload. Now, busting through a total plateau, you can do just eccentric exercises. You understand me? After you finish up your whatever exercises you're doing there, you can just do exclusively eccentrics to try to get more out of it.
Shoulder extension, but they're right at about my midline, and basically perform a curl like this.
Daniel Plotkin, one of the science advisors for us at Built with Science, has designed and published several muscle growth studies and explains why this exercise is so effective.
I'm gonna have to go with a reverse preacher curl. It covers a lot of bases that wouldn't be covered with those compound back movements, where the exercises are typically hardest in the mid to shortened position.
So by lying back on a preacher curl bench, your biceps are still challenged near the bottom just like they would be during a normal preacher curl, but your arms are positioned in more of a stretch because they aren't held in front of the body. Plus, it comes with another unique benefit that most dumbbell curls miss out on.
And I found it very beneficial to just have something on my arm when I'm curling. I really like the stability aspect of it. When you think about it, like, arms, like, they can move all over the place. That's something people forget, is like the bigger you get, probably the more strict form you need, because it's very easy for you to use your own body weight to contaminate an exercise.
However, Dr. Mike, PhD researcher,
He was swinging those weights up and down. I've seen people do that in the gym. They swing them up and down like crazy.
and competitive bodybuilder, actually recommended
He does too much concentric work too.
an even weirder exercise that still applies
Competitive bodybuilders, all steroid people he's using. All steroid people. He's supposed to be using science, isn't he?
It's a similar concept.
Flat bench dumbbell curl really puts that tension at the maximum stretch and lengthen position of the muscles.
Yeah, but this could be dangerous, man. You can injure yourself doing these. I've seen people do these, try to do these in the gym and stuff. They think it's all about just stretching. It's not about it. It's not about it stretching. It's about multiple stretches which cause micro tears. It's not I'm gonna stretch it. Yeah, I got to do a few stretches and then that's it. Stretching is not going to make it grow. The micro tears that are caused from overstretching it, multiple stretches will cause that. Yeah.
Has that same feel for your biceps that stiff-legged deadlifts done properly have.
I think this guy's been watching my videos on eccentric exercise, but he doesn't want to mention it. You want to know why? Because the floodgates are open, bro. People are going to keep coming. They're going to start shuffling to my channel because that's all I ever talk about is eccentric exercise and muscle damage and these myofibulars and whatever, sarcomerogenesis and shit.
For your hamstrings, you know what I'm talking about? Like they're getting pulled apart with maximum tension at the stretch.
Yeah, they're getting pulled apart with maximum tension and stretch. Yes, they are. But it takes multiple sets to cause that micro damage to those myofibulars. Get it?
There's just no replacement for that. Once you try it, it's like the crystal of champagne of bicep exercises. You're like, F all the rest of this.
Now, I will admit, this is quite the weird looking exercise, and even I was skeptical at first. Now, even though pumps and soreness aren't everything, I'm not
Pumps and soreness aren't everything. Well, pumps can help. Eccentrically, you can get a pump, but we're not really focused on the pump. That's exclusively for these crazy concentric lifters. Ass cheek squeezing. They love to get the pump, bro, but it can be included in eccentric, definitely. You can include it. See what I mean?
gonna lie. After I tried this exercise for the first time, it gave me
It just means you're eating complex carbohydrates to add to that pump.
the biggest pump and post-workout soreness I have ever had. Holy shit.
Yeah, you want to know why he feels post-workout soreness and the biggest pump he's ever had? Look, his physique is changing. He must be doing more eccentric exercises. Been watching my channel, this guy, because I forwarded my videos to him. I did lots of videos on him, you know that, and I always forwarded it forward to this asshole. So he's probably doing eccentric exercises now. Look at him. Oh my God, I'm so sore. Oh my God, I'm growing. Oh my God, it's really working. You mean all my 500 videos that I did in the past are all shit? And Master T's right. That guy, Genetic Beast, bodycentric exercises.
That's
That
insane.
really, see, I use real science, unlike Jeremy Ethier. His physique is kind of looking better these days. Must be doing eccentric exercises.
So much so that it's easily become one of my current favorites. But the downside of this version is that they do lack the stability that the preacher bench provides. And supporting your arms in this free held position can place a lot of demand on your front delts. So an easy fit.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that at all. That's stupid. You can get a very heavy weight and just literally pull. You can pull it towards your body like you're doing your biceps and just keep doing that. Very, very, very heavy. You know, for a couple of sets and reps and stuff, and you'll still get the same damage. So do you have to lay on the bench and do this exclusively? No. Can you do it? Yeah, you can, but why would you want to? See what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
I've been recommended by biomechanics expert Coach Casson is to position yourself.
In other words, you could do this exercise standing up, exactly what he's doing here. All you have to do is just add a few more sets. You understand me? Do a few more sets so you don't have to lay on the bench like this, like an asshole, pulling your arms apart.
Sideways so that your arms are now supported by the bench. You might lose a bit of the stretch on the biceps, but it does make up for it with the extra stability, which I personally find makes this exercise a lot more comfortable. But use caution. Both of you.
But this is full range of motion, so this is not an eccentric exercise. An eccentric exercise means that you are not able to lift the weight for a full concentric. That's all it means. But he's lifting this weight for full concentric. So when it's going down lighter. The only difference is that he elevated his arm on an angle of inclination. You understand me? Something he's never done before. He's unaccustomed to doing this exercise. So we know that in eccentric exercise, unaccustomed, unfamiliar forms, and untrained people get this damage. So he's untrained doing this because he's never done it before. I'm not saying he's not a trained individual. He's trained because he lifts weights. He's untrained doing that exercise because he's never done it before. So it's unaccustomed and it's unfamiliar to him. And therefore, it will get damaged.
They still require a good amount of shoulder mobility, and they will take some time to get used to. So don't force it if it feels off, and start light. I can do regular curls with 55 pounds, but for these, I'm using max 30 pounds. But because not everyone will have a preacher curl bench or feel comfortable doing the lion dumbbell curls, there's a third option with cables. Now I have shown this in past videos, but you set up the cables to about wrist height and then curl with your arms held behind your body. While these do lack the arm support,
He's not the first one to do that. Remember the guy with the rings I showed you? The guy that does the calisthenics. Not that. There's two guys I used for calisthenics. The other guy. He did the rings, remember? And he would do this with rings using his body weight. Okay, it's nothing new.
you get from using a bench, you still take the boxes in terms of the stretch and the resistance challenge. Now, all three exercises are very similar.
Again, you don't have to do any of these things. Why not just get the whole stack of weight on the cable machine, the whole stack, right? And pull it towards your body and let the weight pull your muscles down again, and then pull it back up, then allow it to pull your muscle down again. That's it. You're going to get more damage out of 3 sets than doing all these sets, what he's doing here, and doing these ridiculous movements, laying on your back and shit.
In terms of what they're doing to the biceps. So pick the one that best suits what equipment you have available, but also feels really good on your joints. But even with the best bicep exercise, they only contribute to about...
I think he's just doing this because it's entertainment. You know what I mean? It's just to keep you people busy. It's to keep you busy. He doesn't want to tell you that. He doesn't want to use the word eccentric overload is what causes this damage, causes the nuclei, donation, more sarcomeres in series, in parallel, more myofibrillar growth, yada, yada. He doesn't want to tell you that because he says he's science-based, so why won't he tell you?
1/3 of your arm size. The other 2/3, triceps. And unfortunately, most people use exercises that don't allow this muscle to reach their full potential, like push
Why is that? Why is that, Jeremy?
downs, close grip presses, or dips. But these exercises seem to mostly work just 2 parts of the triceps, the lateral head and medial head, which would beef up the triceps from the front and side. But the third head, the long head, is actually the biggest part of the triceps and beefs them up from the back and hangs down when you flex your arms. So, what's the better exercise to grow all 3 of these areas? Luckily, the scientists from a 2022 paper designed an experiment to find the answer.
Yeah, but I don't need an experiment. I don't need scientists to tell me anything.
We're Roofer, the all-in-one roofing
Subjects perform overhead extensions with one arm and push downs with the other arm. Now, because the long head crosses over the shoulders, whenever you do a triceps exercise with your arm overhead, this muscle gets stretched, which, as you know by now, in certain muscles seems
Yes, it gets stretched, but guess what?
to boost growth.
Yeah, okay, he says it gets stretched to boost growth. No, it doesn't. You can stretch it and it won't boost growth. What it does is it needs multiple stretches so it can cause micro injuries to the muscle fiber. You understand me? So that requires multiple sets because he's still doing he's still following with concentric. You understand me? So it's going down lighter. So that means you're going to have to do more of it. You're going to have to overwork it. The eccentric part is going to have to be done more than the concentric, so you're going to have to overwork it like crazy to damage.
But surprisingly, all three heads grew more with the overhead extensions, resulting in 1.4 times overall triceps growth.
Look, man, let's say for an example, I do a study and I put two people there, right? And I get one guy, he does 5 sets of 10 repetitions doing eccentric, concentric, just like him, right? Full range of motion. Okay. But I put another guy on the right side, right? On the right side. And on the right side, I have a guy do 30 sets of 10 repetitions. 30 sets of 10 repetitions, full concentric, eccentric, right? So which one do you think is gonna build more muscle, myofibulars and maybe some mass and whatever? Who do you think is gonna have more advantage? The guy that did 30 sets of 10 reps or the guy that did 5 sets of 10 reps doing the same rep scheme, eccentric, concentric, followed with eccentric, concentric? I'm not talking about eccentric overload. I'm talking just about eccentric, concentric, because the eccentric is light. These guys are adapted to it. Which one do you think is going to build more muscle? And then this guy that does 30 sets, I'm going to have him add every time he comes back the following week. I'm going to have him add five. Okay, let's say they both start out at 5 times 10, 5 times 10. But the following week, the guy on the right, I'm going to have him do 10 times 10. And the other guy, he's still doing 5 times 10. Then we come back the third week. Now I have this guy do 15 times 10, and the guy on the left is still doing 5 times 10. Now I come back the fourth week, and I have the guy do 20 times 10. And the guy on the left, he's now doing 5 times 10. Which one do you think is going to get... And then I'm going to keep doing it like that. They're going to keep adding more sets. And the other guy, he's going to still be doing the same set rep scheme. Which one do you think is going to build muscle? Which one? It's kind of obvious. The guy on the right. See what I mean? Because it's causing damage. Because he's doing something he's unaccustomed to doing. I'm having him do something he's unaccustomed to doing. You understand me? Eccentric exercise. What's a unique feature of eccentric exercise? Unaccustomed exercises are known to cause what? Widespread muscle damage. So I can still bring back this damage doing a full eccentric concentric, providing you're unaccustomed to doing it. And how do you do that? By adding more fucking sets, dude.
Than the pushdowns. Now, we don't yet know why exactly the other two heads grew more, and we could definitely use another study to confirm these findings, but the researchers used MRI, which is the gold standard of measurement, so the study is strong. And this is also why every single expert I spoke to chose the overhead extension as their number one triceps exercise.
For triceps, personally, I just like the overhead tricep extension with a rope. Very easy for me.
I would say easy bar, standing or seated behind the neck. Tricep extensions are amazing. If you're already doing press,
They're good, but there are many ways to get this damage. Let me explain to you. They all work until until they stop working. So what do you need to do? You need to do something that you're unaccustomed to doing. Get it? To bring back that damage. If you are an eccentric, concentric lifter. But here's the thing. Majority of people in the gym, they only lift exclusively now concentrically because they're scared of the eccentric and it's uncomfortable for them and they just don't do it. That's all. Okay?
for your chest, you're doing the motion for your triceps that has the other angles built in anyway. You might as well go overhead to get all those awesome benefits.
If I had to choose one, I'd go with an overhead tricep extension with a cable, usually with my hand wrapped through the D handle and my elbow propped up. It's one of the few exercises that feels really good on my elbow, especially in that overhead position, and it checks a lot of boxes. So hardest in the lengthened position, puts the long head of the tricep in a lengthened position, so can't go wrong.
But what you may have noticed is that each expert I spoke to preferred a different variation. Why?
I think this is where most people find
Each expert preferred a different variation. And the question is this: variation is not what's going to cause the damage. What's going to cause the damage is you being unaccustomed to it because you're doing eccentric, concentric, and the eccentric is going down lighter than the concentric going up. See what I mean? It's always like that. Or you either do that, you add more sets, or you do exclusively eccentric overload.
their elbow issues over time. Very few people after the age of 30 do you see like skull crushing like the 45. But we know we've all done that. But like, and when you see a young man doing
He
it,
says over 45. Well, I'm over 45 and I'm fucking doing those. I can do skull crushers, but do I need to? See, here's the question. If I can bring back this damage to build more myofibular growth and mass and everything, right? And get really strong doing something else, getting my muscles to become really strong doing something else to get it to become stronger. If I go to do these skull crushers, will they not be lighter eventually? Yeah. So did I have to suffer doing skull crushers? No. I could have done something else to get this damage to build up my muscles big and strong to handle this weight later. You understand me? So I don't have to fucking do all these ridiculous exercises. This is just futile. This is dumb.
you're like, oh, okay, you probably got 5 more years of that, and then you're going to be joining
You
me.
have to understand, there's a lot of dumb people. There's a lot of dumb people in the gym, like Jeremy Ethier, these influencers. There's a lot of dumb people. Look, he's making it so difficult for him. Here, look at him. He has this cable behind the back of his neck. It's so difficult. Do you really need that? No, I just told you what you need are more sets. Even if you're doing eccentric, look, providing you're doing the eccentric with the concentric, a full range of motion, then that just means you need to add more sets. So do you need to make yourself uncomfortable doing this shit? No, absolutely not. See what I mean? It's just stupid.
We're getting the cables. So especially with tricep, is like pick the movement that
That's why these people are all fake natties, fake influencers. They're so fake, man. They don't know anything about bodybuilding. I'm so shocked this generation is so dumb. They don't know fuck all about lifting, bro. They're so dumb, bro. Even their stupid science. Look at this smirk on his face. Jeremy Ethier. He's the stupidest fitness influencer in the internet. That's why he has the most fucking subs to his channel. That's why he has a high sub count, because the dumber you are, the higher the sub count. See, if you go around and look at real intelligent YouTube channels that really explain it to you, use real science, their account is very small. Want to know why? Because there's very few people that are intelligent out there, but there are more stupid people out there, gullible, stupid people out there. When I go to these fitness shows, they never talk to me, people. Want to know why? Because they know I'm old, I'm smart, I won't buy their products. They want to talk to young people. Want to know why? Because they know young people are stupid. They're not wise. They don't have experience. They're dumb. They'll buy that shit. Get it? Yeah, that's why they don't want to talk to me. See what I mean? Just like this garbage right here. This garbage. This old goof here with the beard, he's stupid. And so is Jeremy Ethier. He's gullible. And so this guy's going to feed him his bullshit. You understand how it works? He'll feed him his bullshit.
you just feel like it's just custom made for you.
So even though Dr. Mike loves the bar overhead extensions, my body structure finds it extremely uncomfortable because it locks my hands into a fixed position.
Exactly. So why are you doing it if it's uncomfortable locking your hands in that position? There's other movements that you could use to cause this damage to come back for the growth. You see how stupid these people are? That's how dumb they are.
I've actually injured myself a couple times trying to force it. My personal favorite right
There you go. He injured himself a couple of times trying to force it. How stupid could that be? Now, this is what I tried to explain to all of you.
now is either Daniel's single arm recommendation with cables because it feels easiest on my joints, or even something as simple as a standing single arm dumbbell overhead extension because it's just really.
No, don't do any of those. Those are very uncomfortable. Those are bad for you. You understand me? Because you're twisting your shoulder and everything. It's it's a bad position to be in, actually. Very bad.
Easy to set up and doesn't rely on a cable machine being available. But try out the different variations, and what you're looking for is the one where you feel very little to no pain in your elbows or shoulders as you do it, yet feel a great pump in your triceps after you finish your set. But whichever variation
I love this. Great pump. Okay, pump, huh?
you do end up choosing, here's the key. If you're using cables, bump up the cable to about hip height and stand close to the cable so that the challenge is hardest closer to the bottom when the muscle is stretched. For the dumbbell version, keep your upper arm locked straight up and down. Don't allow it to bend too much as you get tired. And on all the variations, don't stop halfway. Get as deep a stretch in the triceps as possible by letting your hand come down.
No, just do as many as you can, as many sets as you can. That's it. And this damage will come back. That's it. If you're doing this full range of motion shit, that's all. It's really simple. But that's takes a lot of work. A lot of work.
Down behind your neck as far as it can. But now the important part. How do you actually implement these exercises into your routine? Well, first off, it's not like all other arm exercises are useless, but these are likely going to give you the most bang for your buck. Okay. So make sure they're somewhere in your current routine by doing them for 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps at least 1 to 2 times per week. And the good news is that with my new app, Built with Science Plus, all of this programming is taken care of for you. We carefully select.
See, his new app, Built with Science, has been taken care of for you, bro. Get it? Yeah.
Each exercise in your routine based not only on what's been proven to be most effective, but
he's going to have you exercising. He's going to exercise you slaves to death. You're going to look like Jeremy Ethier.
Also based on what suits your specific the body best and what equipment you have available to you. Plus, after you start your workout program, it coaches you every single week, telling you exactly how much weight and how many reps to do based on how you've been progressing. And the same goes with your nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
And tracking your body weight. It's on.
Have you seen his nutrition plan? Slave food diet. And these are more like what his exercises are more like for performance purposes, to look cool. You see what I mean? The exercises he's been doing here is more like kind of like performing slave. Get it? Performance, endurance, performing slave. That's really what it is.
Honestly, the only fitness app you need. And you can try 2 weeks free at builtwithscience.com and see the difference for yourself.
I guarantee you, all the people that watch his channel are all failures like him. They all failed. All of them failed. I told you, there's more stupid people out there than intelligent people. That's why these numbers are high with these fitness people, because there's so many dumb people out there. They can't think for themselves. They can't figure out anything. So they rely on these fitness influencers. They've got the answers and everything. And these fitness influencers, they don't have the answers. They don't know anything. You understand me? They don't know anything. They haven't proved really anything. He brought out some study stuff and talked about stuff, but didn't really prove anything. He just said there was a study and they did this like movement and whatever. They got something out of it. Okay. What happened when they repeated that exercise? Did they get anything out of it when they repeated it? Did he mention that in the study? No. He hid that part. You want to know why? Because a second... What was it? I put it in my community section. A second week of exercise, there's less muscle damage until there's no more damage. Get it? That's what happens. A week after the first exercise, there's no more damage. That damage disappears. In my community section, I did a video on it. I don't want to bring it up again. It's NCBI, bro. Get it? But whatever. These things are all at NCBI, man. I'm tired of bringing them up all the time. It gets boring for me. You get the idea. I'll see you in the next one. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Your shoulders need these exercises. Yeah, they don't need exercises, man. They need specific something to get this growth. See you later, man. I gotta go.